What and when to eat for muscle growth. Your body is a machine that constantly reinvents itself. Every minute of every day, it breaks down its own tissues and replaces them with new stuff it makes from a combination of the food you eat and recycled material it scavenges from other tissues. No matter how old your Facebook profile says you are, your component parts are considerably younger. Even your bones replace themselves every 10 years. By that standard, your muscle cells with an average age of 15 years old are the adults at the party. Your workouts will cause the protein in your muscles to break down and build up much faster than it does in ordinary circumstances. In fact, when you work out with the goal of becoming more awesome than you are now, the entire point is to get that protein to turn over. But it only helps if you end up with more than you had when you started. There are two ways to do that. The first, and by far the easiest, is to eat more protein than you currently do. Protein, all by itself, is anabolic. It wants to be stored in your muscles. The second is to work out in a way that disrupts your muscles and forces them to respond by getting bigger and stronger. The combination of a diet rich in high-quality protein, like this whey protein powder, and a great strength training program is the oldest, best, and only non-pharmaceutical way to reach that goal. This video will show you how much protein you need to eat and when. Part 1. How much? A 2007 study in the Journal of Applied Physiology found that muscle size increases 0.2% per day during the first 20 days of a strength training program. That growth is over and above the high rate of muscle protein breakdown that's occurring simultaneously. This explains why the guy who's just starting out or returning from a layoff needs more protein than the weight room warrior who's been training for years without a break, and who is at or near his genetic ceiling for strength and size. But it's the beginner who's least likely to worry about his diet and most at risk of not getting as much protein as he needs. How much is that? A good target is 0.73 grams of protein per pound of body weight per day. For a guy who weighs 180 pounds, a day's worth would be about 130 grams. Part 2. How often? Protein synthesis is the process that takes the protein from food and turns it into muscle tissue. As Men's Health Nutrition Advisor Mike Rousel, PhD, explains, protein synthesis is like a lamp. It's either on or off. With 20 to 25 grams of high-quality protein, it's on. More protein won't improve the response, just as applying more force to a light switch can't make the room brighter. Here's why it matters. Most of us tend to backload our daily protein intake. We'll have a low-protein, high-carb breakfast, a bowl of cereal with milk, a moderate protein lunch, like a turkey sandwich, and a high-protein dinner, featuring a large piece of meat or fish. But a 2014 study in the Journal of Nutrition showed that you turn more of the protein from your meals into muscle tissue when you distribute protein evenly at each meal. In the study, protein synthesis was 25% higher in subjects who ate 30 grams of protein in each of their 3 daily meals, compared to those who ate the same total amount but had most of it at dinner. A recent study in the Journal of Applied Physiology found that subjects who got at least 20 grams of protein 6 times a day lost body fat and increased lean mass, with or without training. They were given a protein supplement within an hour of waking up, no more than 2 hours before going to bed, and every 3 hours in between. 6 meals a day may be excessive, but you probably want at least 3 protein-rich meals a day, especially in the early stages of a new training program. Protein synthesis will peak about 16 hours post-workout and will remain elevated for up to 48 hours. Protein breakdown will also be higher for 24 hours. What this means for you is that every meal counts. If you're working out 3 or 4 times a week, your body will in effect be in the process of building new muscle every hour of every day, and also breaking down muscle at a higher rate at least half the time. Part 3. Pre- and post-workout. For consistent long-term lifters, protein synthesis will peak much earlier, about 4 hours post-workout, and return to baseline levels faster. So the protein you eat immediately before and after your workout becomes more important. In a 2012 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, the researchers compiled data from multiple studies looking at protein and strength training. They found that those who used protein supplements gained 2 extra pounds of muscle over 12 weeks, compared to those who didn't. For experienced lifters, they concluded that pre- and/or post-workout protein supplements are required to achieve maximum results. The window of opportunity when your muscles are most receptive to protein appears to be about 4 to 6 hours, according to a 2013 study in the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition. Ideally, you want a protein-rich meal 2 to 3 hours before training and another within an hour or two after you finish. Those who work out in the morning before breakfast have a narrower window. Protein synthesis slows down by about 15 to 30% while you're sleeping, according to Dietary Protein and Resistance Exercise, a textbook published in 2012. So if you work out before eating, you want a post-workout meal as soon as possible,